So I just want to address some of the arguments that were brought up on the negative side, and then try and sum up kind of what I could put out in the beginning. So some of the arguments brought up by the side were that population grows, and as the population grows, the gap of the uninsured is naturally going to grow. And that is a very, very true statement, and the only way to fix that is through something like universal health care. And copying out behind that seems like an excuse for the HMOs and other insurance policy companies. They decided in Canada that people need to wait a long time. And he told that tragic story about that lady who died from cancer, but in the U.S., don't people have to wait just as long too? In fact, in the U.S., 40 million people don't even get a chance to wait. And I do admit that that was a tragic story for that lady, but 47 million people don't even have the option of going in to get that medicine in the United States. Another thing they brought up was that people are getting robbed in universal health care because the wealthier people don't really want to pay in taxes for the lower class, and even in most cases the middle class people who can't afford it. And he said that the people that don't work hard, and I just want to say that the largest social class in the United States is the middle class. And that's where actually the most people who don't have universal health care are. And to say that those aren't hardworking people is a very strong statement. Another thing he's scared of is fraud. But I can look back and I don't see any large indications of fraud from any other industrialized nations. In fact, all other industrialized nations that switched from private to universal health care. There's been no massive indications of fraud. And then the last claim he made was that there's no money in the medical field. There's actually, in universal health care, there's tons of money. As we said, the U.S. currently spends 60% of its GDP, which is more than any other nation, and it's growing rapidly. As of right now, the doctors receive their money from HMOs that they work for, and if they receive it for the government, in some cases they'll get paid even more. And the last thing he said, or the last thing by the first native speaker said, was that HMOs are private insurance companies tell you what to do, or that that universal health care will tell you what to do, but private companies already do that. One of the arguments brought up by the second negative speaker was that healthcare is not really free, which is true. You do pay it in taxes. It has to get paid off somewhere, but the healthcare we're experiencing right now isn't free, and we're paying way more for that, and it's not working, as opposed to a more effective method that's proven in other industrialized states. It's a cheaper, more effective method, and taxes are cheaper than bills. As he pointed out, the average tonsil, not everyone has to experience tonsil removal, but the average person is going to pay a lot more than that than an annual tax, or a regular tax, I'm sorry. We do have the best, and the last argument I'll point is that we do have the best high-end treatment. That's true. As I said, again, we spend more money than any other industrialized nation, but then why is it that we don't have the best health care? Because people can't afford it. By switching to universal health care, the government will still be able to fund lots of money into the system, but now people will be able to afford it by paying a regular tax. And with that said, I'd like to sum up everything that with one little statement, is that in every other industrialized nation, health care is a given right to the citizen, but only in the United States is it a privilege.